So you're telling me about the role that Cosla has played in helping integrate people into local communities.
Cosla is the umbrella body for Scotland's local authorities, and Cosla runs a migration service. In the not too dim and distant future, 32 out of 32 local authorities in Scotland will have refugees in place in their communities.
Now, what approach has been adopted in settling people in local communities? You don't want a ghetto of everyone, but you don't want people isolated from their own country folk.
Yeah, getting the balance right here is important. Within a large city, you could put hundreds of refugees into a city and they would blend into the community because there's hundreds of thousands of people in that city. You go to some of our smaller communities, a population of 4,000 or 5,000, a handful of refugees might be able to blend in, numbers larger than that, and it becomes more noticeable that refugees are there. And also within the smaller communities, you don't have the scale of service that the local authority is able to provide. So getting the balance right is important. And also getting accommodation for people which suits their needs. You might have some of the Syrians who are coming here from large cities who want to go back to a large city. You might have some of them coming here who lived in rural communities back in Syria, and that might suit them. Get it right for individuals rather than treating them all as a single case.
Well, Scotland's population is about 5 million, I think.
Yeah.
And so far in the course of a year, you've received over 1,000 Syrian refugees.
And the people that we have received have been able to be accommodated. They've been welcomed by the local communities. Many of these people, not only is English not their first language, but some of them come here unable to read or write their own language. Some of them come here who are entrepreneurs, are highly skilled individuals. So we're getting a real mixture of people coming from Syria, and we have to treat them all as individuals. We can't treat them all as being the same. We have an example of entrepreneurs coming, and they've set up their own businesses, and others who need a higher level of assistance from the local authorities.
I pledge as First Minister of this country that we stand ready to help offer sanctuary to refugees who need our help.
The New Scot strategy does seem to have been very successful. It's very encouraging that the local communities have been so welcoming. To what extent is that the natural instinct of the Scottish population? To what extent has it been guided by leadership? There's
a bit of both involved in it. The Scottish population is, generally speaking, very welcoming. The politicians have been using the right type of language. We see this as a humanitarian crisis. You deal with the humanitarian crisis first and you worry about the details later. We have strong support from Civic Scotland. We have strong support from the churches. So by and large, the whole of Scottish society is buying into this. But political leadership is important. We are aware of places, thankfully not in Scotland, where the politicians have used language which is less than helpful, less than encouraging, and less than humanitarian, I've got to say.
Well, the response in England seems to have been markedly different from the response in Scotland.
The social attitudes in Scotland and England aren't that much different. They are very similar, but the thing that has been different is the political leadership in Scotland. We are committed from all the political parties to pull out all the stops, make every effort that we can to assist with this issue, irrespective of party.
Are there any people in the Scottish Parliament who've opposed the idea of welcoming refugees?
If there are, I haven't met them. Everyone I've talked to in politics, in local government, in Scottish government, are all signed up for this. This is a humanitarian crisis. Deal with it. We are all human beings, irrespective of the colour of our skin, or the language we speak, or the religion that we preach.
Gee, I wish you were a politician in Australia.
It would be warmer.
I think it's just remarkable. I wish we had attitudes like yours in Australia.
Yeah.
We have politicians in Australia who are willing to say, look, let's make political capital out of attacking these people and mistreating them. Let's ignore that they're human beings. Let's keep them away as a show of political populism.
They're also missing an opportunity because it's important for any economy that you're growing the population. Now, we no longer grow the population here in Scotland by the usual method. So you help to grow the population by bringing people in. Australia was founded in immigration. As someone sitting here in Scotland, it would seem rather bizarre for places like Australia and America to be saying, we don't want immigrants. That's what the places were founded upon. That's where their strengths come from. Embrace it rather than reject it.